Okay, we're going to get started here. Welcome to week 3, live lecture 1. It is Monday. I'm glad to be here today to start off a new week. You guys submitted your week 2 projects recently, and I have gone through and evaluated the ones that were submitted on time. Great job on your infographics. I saw a lot of really great work, very strong work. So hopefully the content strategy from week 1, or I'm sorry, week 1 really helped you in week 2. I'm kind of getting my weeks confused here. We are in week 3. So content strategy for your assignment 1, hopefully you got to see how that really applied to your concept for week 2, and you were able to see the benefits of creating a customized infographic, as well as the benefits of using a template from that last week as well. So great job for those of you who followed instructions. There were a couple of you that kind of needed a little bit more help. And for those of you who need to resubmit because of maybe miscommunication and being a little confused on what was needed, I highly recommend you listen to the lecture recordings, because I do a step-by-step demo of each project every week and how I would approach that project. So it should become more clear if you were to watch those videos and the lectures that I do in the demo, what you need to do. So I would highly encourage you to either watch them again if you already have and are still confused, or watch them definitely for sure if you have not done so yet and you need to resubmit your work. So, just make sure you're following the instructions, reading through there carefully on what to submit. But a lot of you guys did a great job, and I saw a lot of strong work coming through. So good job with that. All right, so as we go forward into week 3, just remember, you need to get your work in on time. The discussions obviously will be excluded in the late grace period, but and there's a good reason for that. Nobody's going to go back to the last week to read your discussion post that you may have posted a little late. So, and you'll gain more out of posting early on discussion, because you'll have more responses possibly, and you'll gain more from that. So make sure that you're getting your discussions in and also your assignments in, because it all builds upon itself. Week 1 built on to week 2 in regards to your assignments. So if you don't have that proper time in between, you might not have that revision process time to evaluate or elevate your work. So make sure you're doing that, kind of taking time to do each project. All right, as we get into week 3, we are going to, there's a little overview here. We're going to define information design and how it applies to the role as a graphic designer or web designer. Design a set of symbols with a cohesive theme that can be universally understood. Develop a cohesive user experience interface, UX, UI, that support best practices of hierarchy and principles of design. So we're going to look at user experience in regards to this week. We're going to be designing a kiosk, screens for kiosk, for brands that are listed in your assignment 3. Oh, let me go actually into Canvas at this point. And take a look at week 3 here. And we will be meeting tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of split it up. I'm going to see how time allots today. We're going to split up the assignment. The assessment is actually a quiz. So we will be kind of splitting things up here. Okay. So the learning objectives I just kind of read over on that slide are listed here in your week 3 overview. There's a short little video here we can just take a look at now, and this has to do with human-centered design. So we're talking about interface users, like user interfaces like kiosk and on screens. Like say if you were to go to a store, some stores have kiosks. If you go to a convention center, there's kiosks. So it's some type of interactive screen that you are able to you know, access and maybe help you find something in the store or order something in that particular for that particular brand or in that particular store itself. Okay, so I'm going to play this here real quick.
Capital One and Hotels.com are giving venture cardholders 10 miles on every dollar they spend at thousands of hotels. Human-centered design is a creative approach to problem solving, one that starts with people and ends with innovative solutions tailored to meet their needs. When you understand the people you're trying to reach and then design from their perspective, not only will you arrive at unexpected answers, but you'll come up with ideas that they'll embrace. Human-centered design is both how you think and what you do with it. It's a process that consists of 3 phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. The inspiration phase is about learning on the fly, opening yourself up to creative possibilities, and trusting that as long as you remain grounded in the desires of the people you're designing for, your ideas will evolve into the right solution. In the ideation phase, you come up with lots of ideas. Some too crazy to work, some too crazy not to try, and you'll refine them, tossing out the bad and improving the good. Making things helps you learn, grow, and test your ideas. Building a simple prototype gets your idea tangible and gives you something to put right back into the hands of the folks you're designing for. Without their input, you won't know if your solution is on target or how to evolve your idea. Keep iterating, testing, and integrating feedback until you've got everything just right. During the implementation phase, you'll build partnerships, shore up your business model, and get your idea out into the world, which was always the goal in the first place. Anyone can practice human-centered design, and everyone benefits because it gets us all to solutions that are adopted and embraced.
All right, so that's kind of interesting. So, it's kind of similar to your design process in a way. When you did your content strategy, for example. Whoops, I logged out of here. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. So that's a process. And that's what design is. Design is a process. So when you're thinking about a kiosk, think about what one is searching for when they go to a kiosk. Say you go into a store and then you go up to a kiosk, what is it that you're looking for? And I'm actually going to go sorry, I kind of sneezed there. Kiosk design examples. Just do like an image search here, just to get an idea of what we're talking about. So this is a kind of a good example here of interface kiosk screen design. You guys are going to be designing 4 screens for a kiosk, and this is going to be for a particular brand. Some of these kiosks are different sizes, different displays, and we don't necessarily have a particular size, I don't believe, for this project, but start off with something that you think is right. Pretty much almost like an iPad orientation would be good. Screen ratio for that would be perfect. So it's just kind of cool to see other kiosks. Some of them are definitely, in the middle of a mall or maybe a convention center or in a store. And I'm sure you guys have come across kiosks before. There's like mall ones. Some are very interactive. So the one that you're actually going to be designing for is something that you can definitely be interactive with, that you're going to be designing for a particular store that you're going to choose. And let's go forward here. I just wanted to show you some kiosk designs. It's like Pinterest has some too. Pinterest is a great resource to get design inspiration from. So if you don't You should kind of know about Pinterest by now, hopefully, as designers. But if you don't, as student designers, check it out. You know, there's some really cool resources in here too. Just things that you can pin, and what pinning means is you can save it for, you know, later. It's almost like a mood board. You're getting design inspiration, or, you know, whatever you're looking for. There's some really intricate kiosks here. You can type in keywords like kiosk screen design. Here's some examples. Here's one here for a brand. And let's see, there's a flip through. It's kind of nice, screen animation. So it's showing you the different screens that you can access on this kiosk as you're touching each option. It's going from one. So this is basically what you're going to do. Now yours isn't going to be interactive. You're just designing the screens. So just kind of an FYI there. But that's one example. So there's some really cool things you can take a look at. Here's another one. A simple one here. I don't think this flips through though, so it's kind of a generic one there. You can see the actual kiosk that they're in, or you're just basically going to be doing this screen part. Now, if you want to, later when you're done, you can place it in a PSD template that looks like a real kiosk, just a nice presentation. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this because I thought this was really cool. You can kind of get some really neat, you know, design inspiration there. So that's what we're going to be doing. So week 3, you know, we're going to definitely be kind of thinking about human-centered design. Let's take a look at your discussion, and I'll read through this, and then we'll look at the prompts. So it says there are a variety of names for careers, educations, and job titles within the design industry. Graphic design, graphic arts, communication arts, visual communication, information design, UX design, IU design, web design, etc. The lines between many of these careers and tasks overlap depending on the needs of the company or client. No matter what your job title is or will be, your job is basically about communicating some type of information, and the goal for all these types of designers is to do that effectively, clearly, in a way that is enjoyable to the recipient audience. Okay, so what is information? Some definitions of information are: 1, the communication or reception of knowledge or intelligence; 2, knowledge obtained from investigation, study, or instruction; 3, intelligence and news; 4, facts and data; 5, facts provided or learned about something or someone. As humans, we are naturally curious and interested in learning and acquiring information. We are currently in what is called the information age. The start of the information age is connected to the digital revolution and the birth of the World Wide Web. The means of how communication is spread, shared, and transmitted continues to change. New technology, user devices, and methods of interaction with other humans and devices are continually entering areas of research, development, and commercial markets. What is design? Along with having communication and information in common, all of the titles listed are considered design careers. What does it mean to be a designer? Simply stated, it is someone who designs. So what is design? Well, the Merriam-Webster defines design as follows: to create, fashion, execute, or construct according to plan; to conceive and plan out in the mind; to have as a purpose; to devise for a specific function or end. Some synonyms listed are arrangement, blueprint, plan, game plan, ground plan, master plan, program, project, roadmap, scheme, strategy, and system. All of these descriptions imply that something is very purposely planned. That is why the planning part of the design process is inevitable. Without a plan and a purpose, it is not a design. User experience. So UX is what user experience, it's an abbreviation for it. So UX is a popular acronym. You have probably heard it mentioned in design circles or seen it used by employers when looking for experience or qualifications. UX is often used in conjunction with web and app design, but it is a concept that reaches all aspects of design. Basically, it refers to how the end user experiences the design and information that is delivered by the design. User experience is a necessary part of all design work and ensures human-centered design approach. Here's the prompts for the discussion. So in this class, students from a few different design programs converge, as it is a required class for both associates and bachelor level graphic arts students, as well as those majoring in information design and web design. We have a unique opportunity to explore and share different angles of information design. Research 3 different professional areas of design. In this discussion, share your specific emphasis and explore the following questions. How is information design utilized in different design fields mentioned? So, talk about how information design is utilized in graphic design, if you're a print designer, if you're a web designer. What else were we talking about here? We're up here. So talk about it as, if you were just a user experience designer, how do you, how's information utilized? How is information design utilized as a print designer in that design field? How is information design utilized in, say, if you're a web designer in the design field? What different roles do graphic designers and information designers and web designers play in distributing information? You might break it down. What different roles do they play in distributing information? So how do graphic designers, say print designers, distribute information? How do information designers distribute information? How do web designers distribute information? Kind of break it down in those 3. And they may kind of align in certain ways, but yeah, they all have their differences as well. How can a human-centered approach to design be applied in your specific field? So think about the end product too. If you're just a print designer, there is some type of human-centered approach, experience that your viewer is experiencing. Maybe it's a, even if it's like a trifold brochure, how is that user experiencing that? Think about it in that regards. If you're a web designer and you are, how are you approaching your design in regards to human-centered approach to web design, to your websites? So how can other design fields, gaming, architecture, fashion, interiors, etc., utilize the human-centered approach to design? So think about, how does game designers utilize human-centered approach to design? How do architects utilize that? Think about space they're in, fashion, interiors. Maybe look up wayfinding. Wayfinding is a good start with that. That's signage to help people kind of follow through spaces, an actual physical space. So, think about those things when you're discussing this week's discussion. This week's reading includes articles with descriptions of graphic design, information design, and web design. So you need to kind of read about all 3. You can use these for the start of your research and exploration, but there's a lot more information on these topics available on the web as well. For your citation, you might use articles that explain the different design careers. You can also find articles from experts that explore human-centered design. So you might want to Google that word, human-centered design. Your initial and reply posts should work to develop a group understanding of this topic. Challenge each other, build on each other, and always be respectful, but discuss this and figure it out together. So, maybe one of the keywords you look up besides, the 3 that were talked about is human center. I'm just going to paste it in here. Human-centered design. You can find a ton of stuff about it. Even videos. Here's David Kelly talking about. So you definitely can check that out. IDEO, our approach, human-centered design. IDEO is a great website if you guys ever want to take a look at this. It's a great resource to kind of take a look at. Here, they're talking about the same thing we saw in that video: inspiration, ideation, diverge, converge, implementation. This is the video that we actually just watched from that. So this is a resource that was actually taken from this. They have a design kit. Design Kit is our online learning platform with practical tips on applying human-centered design in any context. I mean, how cool is that? You can check that out. There's a design kit kind of circling around that. Oh, you can actually buy it, download free PDF right here. How cool is that? We can actually log on here. I'm gonna post this in the announcements so you guys have this, and then you guys can get this PDF if you sign up to download the field guide here. It's free. But anyway, there's a ton of different resources here that you can take advantage of. Videos that you can post to, just to get kind of an idea. Here's some more information about it here. So what is human-centered design? Human-centered design is a creative approach to problem solving and the backbone of our work at ideo.org. It's a process that starts with the people you're designing for and ends with the new solutions that are tailor-made to suit their needs. Human-centered design is all about building a deep empathy with the people you are designing for, generating tons of ideas, building a bunch of prototypes, sharing what you've made with people you're designing for, and eventually putting your innovation new solution out in the world. Human-centered design consists of 3 phases. In the inspiration phase, you'll learn directly from the people you're designing for as you immerse yourself in their lives and come to deeply understand their needs. So it's almost like a research. You're kind of gathering that information about your target audience. In the ideation phase, you'll make sense of what you've learned, identify opportunities for design, and prototype possible solutions. So you're kind of taking that information and applying it to ideas. So you're kind of brainstorming and then also kind of mocking stuff up. In the implementation phase, you'll bring your solutions to life and eventually to market. And you'll know that your solution will be a success because you've kept the very people you're looking to serve at the heart of the process. So it's a very intricate process that, you guys definitely do in your design processes, hopefully, for each project, but it kind of dives a little bit deeper into the end person and the user of that particular artifact that you're creating. And I say artifact because it could be a website, it could be a product that you're designing, it could be a printed product, it could be a packaged product, so it could be anything. An artifact kind of is a good general word to use for that. Here is an article here, why human-centered design matters, so you can definitely check this out. And I can post this to announcements too. You can kind of get an idea of what it's all about. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Looks like nobody started this as of yet. It's Monday, so you guys are kind of probably just kind of get started on everything. So, but just make sure you're getting that started. I could probably post an intro post to this just to kind of get you guys inspired. But let me know if you have any questions. And like I said, I'll post some of the, hopefully, the helpful resources that you guys need in announcements. All right, before we go on, I did want to kind of show you something real quick. I guess not show you something, but kind of go over something here. I want you guys to go to modules. You're seeing it in teacher view, so you're seeing all this stuff you probably won't see on your end. Make sure that you're going into your course media and checking out all of the required videos and readings that are in here. I think most of these are videos from lynda.com, but each week you have things that you need to be looking at. So this is week 1. All of this information is from week 1. Supplemental resources week 2, required things to read and look at. Week 3 is this week, and the articles are as such. So why human design centered design matters. So here is I think just open this up. Yes, so this is actually, I won't have to post this to announcements because it's in here. So that's great. So read that article. It's kind of telling you what's in there. IDEO 6 steps, this is that video that we just saw in there. So that's a really good, welcome Connie. That's a really good resource to look at. We're just looking at your week 3 media sources here. So definitely take a look at that. What is graph design? That's kind of just the next topic there. If you want to take a look at that, a link to that. That's okay, no problem. What is information design? So, this is great to look at. This is here you go. This is what you need to look at for these 3 things here. So what is graphic design? What is information design? And what is web design? All of this you need to look at in your media, course media section, week 3, for your discussion. We just kind of went over. So those 3 topics, definitely take a look at these links here and read through them. How to design a top quality icon, and this is basically for your assignment that you're going to be doing for this week. How to design a top quality icon and creative block here. So you definitely can take a look at that. It's a nice little article. And then better icon design in 6 easy steps, another supplemental resource there. And then it goes into your lynda.com playlist. So you have access to that. Chapters 1 and 2, looking at planning successful icons for chapter 1 and conceptualizing icons for chapter 2. That's for developing your icons. Videos, how to build your creative confidence. TED Talks is a great resource if you're, kind of needing more inspiration on that. So don't forget that these are in here, and this is to help you each week. So that's for week 3. If you need to get into lynda.com, there's the student access portal. You can click on that link and get right into that. So we just went over your discussion 3 overview. And let me pull up my slide here real quick. So basically, you're going to be researching those 3 different professional areas of study and share your specific emphasis and explore the following options. So you're going to be kind of answering the prompts there that we kind of went over just a little bit ago. All right, we just took a look at your course media, so that's good. Let's take a look at your assignment that's coming up here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of flipping back and forth. Your eyeballs are probably going crazy. Okay, so let me pull this out a little bit. Let's see if I can get this to be, there we go. Okay, I'm going to read through this quickly here. The background, planning the user interface. So you guys are going to be designing and planning a friendly interface for a kiosk. So user interface, so UI, and user experience, UX, that's the acronyms for them, are often used in conjunction or closely related. The user interface is the digital display that a user sees when interacting with a device, like a monitor or a screen. The user experience is how the user responds to the interface functions when interacted with. The designer is responsible for this being a good and comfortable experience. It needs to be intuitive, have a cohesive, sometimes branded feel, and hopefully be universally understood. So it doesn't need a lot of text to be functional. We know how quickly we can lose an audience once they have to read a lot of text. Effective icon design. So in information design, symbols are often referred to as icons. Most users' interface design relies on icons to communicate quickly, universally, and without using too much space. Icons need to be simple, clear, easy to understand, and have a cohesive look and feel. For icons to be easy and quick to understand, you have to give up your desire to be unique and different. In icon design, you will instead strive to be predictable and rely on common metaphors and symbols that the audience is already familiar with. Objects should be shown in their simplest and most recognizable form. Avoid unnecessary details that will only clutter and confuse the message, especially if they need to be used in a small size on the screen. When designing a set of symbols and icons that will be used in the same interface, it is important that they have a cohesive look and feel. Using a grid and clean geometric shapes to create the icons is a good way to get consistent shapes, curves, and angles. Basic vector shapes tools are very useful when creating a simple and consistent set of icons. For example, the repeated use of the same rounded corners in all of the shapes will tie the icons together, the different icons together. So just keeping it the same style, so it doesn't look like, all the icons are different styles. They all have a similar, style to them is kind of what's being talked about there. Okay, so your prompt for this assignment, I'm going to read through this here. So your assignment this week is to start the design process for an interactive kiosk at a larger superstore. This will be a 2-week project with the final design and presentation due for your assignments in week 4. Project overview. So the kiosk will be placed close to the entrance of the store and be used for customers to find their way around the store and be able to search to find the location of a specific item. This project is about using the kiosk user-friendly and cohesive with the shopping experience and brand of the store. You will have a choice between several existing chain stores. Choose one store from the options below for your project. Each type of store has 5 general departments listed. You may also choose an existing store of your own with your instructor's approval before you start. Just be sure it will fit with the specifications of the overall project. All right, so you have 3 choices here. You have the Superstore, Walmart, or Target. In that, you need to show you have 5 general departments. So you have grocery, home, pharmacy, apparel, and electronics that you have to show. And what that means is, you have to show each of those screens. Home improvement, so Lowe's or Home Depot's the next choice. So you have to show lumber, paint, tools, yard and garden, and electrical. Craft and hobby, so you have Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Art supplies, jewelry making, yarn, paper crafts, and floral. Okay, so you have those 3 to choose from. And those are the list of departments that will be on one screen. So actually, you won't be doing each screen for each one of these. You're just going to show that in your department, on your department screen. So typically, what you have, and I'll show you some examples of screens, is you have, a welcome screen. It's almost like a website where you have the logo showing, And then you'll have the home screen button, you'll have a location map button, maybe a search feature button, contact button, store hours button, and a gift idea button, depending on what store you're going with. And the next screen would be maybe the location map where you would have the departments listed here shown on there. The next screen could be the search feature screen. So whatever you have on the front, very first screen is what you can break down into all of your individual screens. Okay, so you may want to choose a store that you are familiar with or can visit in person to better plan your project. You'll be using the existing logo and branding for the store for your project. Locate a vector version of your store's logo on the Brands of the World site. Type in the name of the store you chose, and you may get several options. Choose the one that is most recent. Choose the one that is the most recent one the store is currently using. This is the full URL link. So you can go to thebrandsoftheworld.com. You'll be designing a minimum of 4 screens for the interface: a home screen, a location map, a search screen, and a search result. So those are the 4 screens that you'll be focusing on. A simplified store map in .ai format, so Illustrator format, is provided for you to use, so you can download there. So you can actually use that as a template for your store map. You can customize this map if you would like, but remember, it's best to keep it clear and simple for the user. Focus on the required parts of the assignment for each week. Excuse me. So the assignment instructions are: rough out the user interface and content of the 4 main screens. Considering the flow from screen to screen, choose what text you need for each screen and think about how the screens interact with one another. Carefully think through and plan the user experience. Use hierarchy and the principles of design to guide the user through the screens. Consider your own experiences with interactive kiosks and what you may find helpful or irritating. Design 5 symbols and icons to represent the departments using Illustrator. To guide you in the symbols and icon design, refer to this week's readings on successful icon design. Remember to keep them simple and recognizable. Use the Illustrator Shapes tool and avoid small details. Use InDesign or Illustrator to lay out your preliminaries and plans. If you did hand sketches, place images of these in the document. Be sure to include the company's logo and the symbol icons you design. Save the file as a multi-page PDF. All right, so you're going to basically save it as multi-page PDF. You can see the file name you need to have it set as. And you can submit a multi-page PDF of all your sketches, icons, and map layout for grading. Just remember, it doesn't have to be finished. This is the beginning process. So, but basically you're going to be showing kind of like, I want to say for placement only in regards to each of these screens. Do you know what I mean by when I say that? For placement only, FPO. I'll show you, they call them something else too. Wireframe, did you ever hear of wireframe? Let me see if I could get an example so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so that's basically used a lot in web design, wireframe. And basically what that is, it's kind of like the beginning development of what a website's going to look like. So it could work for a kiosk as well. So basically what you're doing is you're coming up with these sketches, or, you know, in the actual software, and you're just showing, you know, scratch marks where the type would be, you know, a square or whatever, where the icons will be or where the images will be. It's kind of like, that's the digital look of what a wireframe would look like, you know, a website, where it's okay, this is the grid that we're going to use. This is where the buttons will be in the nav buttons, navigation. This will be the big photo. These will be little photos down here type. So it's just showing you a plan of where everything's going to be and not necessarily a finished product, so that, you know, you're kind of working through ideas. I'm trying to find other. Here's another one kind of showing how it would look like on your phone. Now you guys are going to be doing a kiosk, so it's going to be bigger than the phone, but I just wanted to show you really quickly of what your sketches could look like for this particular project. It could look like this, you know, where you have, instead of actually showing the icons, you're kind of planning where they're going to be. You're kind of showing how it's going to be laid out in your grid structure. Here's another more, you know, elaborate web wireframe. Here's another one. So you could design it like this, where you're kind of, it's like a thumbnail of what you're thinking about. So you can sketch it out by hand, or you can actually do it in Illustrator too. You can sketch it out in Illustrator. Okay, so I'm going to open up, give me 1 second here. I'm going to see what this is set as. You're given that optional department. Let me see, info. 8.5 by 5.5 is what you can start out with. So I'm going to do 8.5 by 5.5. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to share my screen in a second here. 8.5 by 5.5 is what you can start out with. It doesn't give you a size in there, so I wanted to give you something to go with. And that's the template that is provided to you guys in the actual assignment for the department section. The store map, I should say, sorry. So this is the size that you could start this out for your screens. And then you can pull up, let's do art boards here, multiple art boards. So you can go ahead and copy that art board. Just drag it down, copy it, so that you have your 4 screens are ready to go. All right, so what I would do is basically go and check out, you know, your options, you know, which one you're going to go with. If you decide to go with something completely different, you need my okay to do so in your plan of what you're going to show in regards to each department area. But you have, you know, your option to do Walmart, Target as a superstore, Home Improvement, Lowe's, or Home Depot, Michael's, or Hobby Lobby. So what you're going to do, if you're going to do one of those, you're going to go up here, back up here, whoops, sorry, down here, and you're going to go to this website to find a good vector artwork for their logo. So let's type in Target, and we have vector logo library selected. And you have all kinds of Target options for a vector logo. So if you want to use, say, just the target, the vertical variation, or horizontal variation, there's the 2 there. Walmart, you're just going to click in Walmart, and it's going to give you vector art for Walmart, depending on, some of these are the older variations of their logo. I believe the one with the little starburst here is their newest one. And that's just to show they're eco-friendly. Okay, so, you know, just kind of do that for any of these that you see here. I think Hobby Lobby was the only one I couldn't find one that was closest to what their newest one looks like. But choose which one you want to go with, and choose one that you're really familiar with. You could actually go into the stores themselves before starting and see if they actually have kiosks in their store to see what they have going on. I know Target has like a wedding and baby gift registry kiosk. It might not necessarily be for these departments, but you know, you can check it out, see what they have. and choose the one that, you know, interests you the most, because that's kind of, the more interested you are in it, the more, you know, energy you're going to put into it. So definitely choose that. Grab the logo so you have that, and then start planning out your grid structure. How are you going to orient this? So, you know, I would just definitely look up anything that can help you kind of inspire you for this. So let's look at Target kiosk and see if they have any image examples in here. Okay, it looks like they just have some examples of different kiosks throughout the store. Here's one for a price checker. Or you can just type in store kiosk design example. Maybe they have some good examples on here. Screen. Maybe look up screen design. Some type of keyword to help you guys with that. You know, so you can get some ideas. You know, here's a good one. It's very simple. Some of these work in conjunction with an app, but we're basically doing it for a store screen. So don't think of it as being on your mobile device. You don't want it as small as that. You want it to be a little bit larger. Kiosk. Oops. Okay, here we go. Kiosk screen design is a good keyword there. So you can see kind of the, you know, some of the welcome pages for some of these and how they went. Oh, let's go forward, sorry. Here's one that uses all kind of buttons like icons. Okay, so I would, you know, start here. Start researching, get inspired by certain ones that you see. Make sure, you know, you're showing everything that you need on each of the screens and have it planned out. But this is where I would start. I would definitely just research what's out there and go from there. Any questions about that so far? Okay. Looks like no questions. All right, I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break before we get actually into designing the demo. So I will see you guys back here in 5 minutes, and we'll go forward with how I would approach the project, give you kind of some hints and tricks, and help you go through it by just showing you the example in my demo. All right, so I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. All right. Sorry, that was a little bit over 5 minutes here. I had a little visitor pop in here. And unexpected, for sure. Okay. All right. So we kind of went over the choices that you have for the next assignment. We went over the instructions. So I just kind of wanted to open up Illustrator and kind of show you how I would approach this project and talk about some of the details that are needed. Now, just remember that this doesn't need to be designed for this particular assignment finalized. What you're doing is you're just kind of developing a plan for your actual 4 screens. You can show sketches. You don't have to do this necessarily in Illustrator either. I think it's just easier for me to show you how I would do this in Illustrator. But like I said, feel free to import sketches if that's easier for you. And how you would do that is you would just take out a regular piece of paper, pen or pencil, and start sketching out your screens. Give me 1 second. I actually have somebody drilling something outside and it's a little loud, so I'm going to shut the window. Give me 1 minute here. Okay, sorry about that. All right, and then what you can do is you can place those sketches right into your 4 parts here if you want to do it in that regards. If you want to do it in Illustrator, that's fine too. Just create your layout. This is 8.5 by 5.5. So if you want to go with that screen size, that's fine. It's not that you have to do this screen size. You could do it more square, but just make sure it's large enough where it's not supposed to be like for mobile use. What I mean by that is like a screen size for your cell phone. It has to be large enough as if you're walking into the store and you're interacting with it in a kiosk setting. This is kind of a general size to go with. All right, so I am going to, for this particular demo, I'm going to go with Target just because I think that's, I don't know, something that I would be more interested in. I like Target. I go into Target a lot. So I'm actually going to download the AI file for the actual logo itself. Let me type in Target. I'm going to download a couple versions, and I know this is one of the final ones here, more of a vertical orientation or more symmetrical. So I'm going to click on agree. Kind of gives you the terms on how to, the copyright terms. I'm going to hit download. I'm going to save my file, and I'm just going to place this on my desktop. You can throw it in a folder. This is actually an EPS. I don't know if I want an EPS. Hold on 1 second. I might be able to place this into Illustrator though. Desktop, so we'll just save that. Here's the actual AI file. So I did download the wrong one. Let's make sure it's a vector file. Here it is opening up in Illustrator, so that's good. And I'm going to go back and see if I can get the other version too. Or the other versions. Sometimes it's good to have 2 variations. Here's an EPS, I don't want that. Because Let me try this one, because you might be able to fit this in a particular way on your screen that you couldn't do with the vertical one. So it's good to have two variations if you have that option. Let's save it. Okay. We'll just save this on my desktop. Okay, so let's go back to Illustrator. Excuse me. Okay, so here's one of the logos. It's actually a vector logo, which is perfect because it won't have any type of pixelation issue. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to just paste it right into my screen here. I'm going to downsize it. I'm going to hold the Shift key and then hold one of the bounding boxes corners to drag down to this size. Now I can put this kind of aside here. I'm going to place the other one that I have. I think it's a PDF though. Let me see. This one. Let's see how this places out here. Yeah, it actually might work. It may have a white box behind it. Let me see. Nope, we're good. Okay, so that'll actually work. We'll pull this down here. Now, let's save this to DES240, assignment 3, first and last name, AI file. All right, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to have 4 screens. Let's go back to the instructions again so we're all clear on what needs to be done. So it could be a little confusing because you have a lot of information in here. Okay, so basically for these 4 screens, you're going to be showing, and this is the highlighted part I want to show, 4 screens for the user interface. Okay, so you're going to have a home screen, that's one page, one screen. A location map is going to be the second screen. A search screen is going to be the third one, and the search result is going to be the other one. I'm just going to copy this and paste this into my Illustrator document, just so I can have it for my own reference here. Paste that in there. The other thing I want to do is look up here and notice all the specifications of the project, including the general departments that we have to list within that store, okay? So I'm just going to copy that into my Illustrator file too. So I know I have to list those particular items. I'm going to throw that to the side there. All right, let's see here. Anything else? Oh, the store map. When you click on that, I want to show you what that looks like. The store map is just for general use. If you want to use this, this is what it looks like. So if you were to click on that and open it up in Illustrator, it looks like this. Now, you don't necessarily have to use this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this into my document here. So I'm going to create a square, a white square in the background so that I can copy all of this and align it perfectly. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go back to that screen that, you know, these 4 screens that I just did. And I'm going to place this. You don't have to do what I'm doing here, but I just thought it'd be easier. I'm going to paste it onto my second screen. So I have something to go with if I want to do this template. Did it paste? Go back. There we go. And I'm going to ungroup. Get rid of that white background. So I can use this as a template. Now I don't have to necessarily go with this grid structure, but you know, it's just a good start. Okay, so this would be the home screen. And you can label this, you know, for your own use up here. You can just say home screen. That would be the home screen. Make it big and white maybe. That would be home screen. This would be, not sure what's going on outside, people. We might hear some weird stuff going on. I think the maintenance people are here, or the gardening people are here. All right. So you have the home screen, and then you're going to have, oops, let me go back to my Illustrator. Location map. And the location map would be basically, you know, your departments would be listed in there. And I'm just going off of what was listed here. Location map. Search screen would be the third one. And then the search result would be this one. So it's basically showing you the flow. If you were to go up to the kiosk, the first home screen would be showing, and then if you were to click on, say, location department map, you would see the departments here. And then if you were to go to the search screen, what the search screen would look like. And then when you do click on search for something, this is the result that you'll see. So these are the four screens that you're going to be working on. Okay, any questions so far? Go to my chat area here. Okay, so this is where your thumbnails really come in handy. You can sit there and just sketch out some ideas of the grid that you want to do. If you're doing it in Illustrator, it's a little different, but you can still do it the same way. So for example, let me get rid of this copy here. Say you wanted to go with more of a symmetrical type of a look. So everything's like kind of even and balanced on the page. You could do something like this, and I'm just drawing out squares. And I'm holding down the Alt key to make a copy, by the way. And then using that snap to align to allow me to know that, you know, these are aligned without actually going up to my alignment options. But there are alignment options. If you go up to Window and Align, there's a window here to help you align everything. All right, so I'm kind of looking at this as these are maybe my 6 buttons that would be on the welcome screen that people kind of could go to. The home screen maybe button would be here. And that's something you can take your pen or your let's do the paintbrush tool, or let's see, there's a pencil tool too. What is that under? I can't remember that. There's a pencil tool under here, one of these. I never usually use it. That's why I'm like, I don't know where it's at. Oh, maybe not. I thought it was under one of these. I thought it was under the paintbrush tool. Maybe I just don't have the option up. Let me do the paintbrush tool, and you know, we can kind of write stuff in here. You just have to make that really thin stroke. So we can do like logo. That's actually too much. Logo would be here. And then what you could do is just kind of start thinking about maybe your icon design, like what you want to kind of do for your icons. Now, this can be very, very rough because this is just a sketch. So maybe that one would be your home screen. And I'm trying to think of other things here. very, very rough sketches. This isn't what it's actually going to look like. So we're just kind of going through the ideas here. So you get a home screen. Location map screen. And I'm kind of getting this concept of this, and I'm going to pull a little arrow out here, the target symbol. This is hard to do with like a target symbol. It's hard to do without having a Wacom tablet here, so just kind of bear with me. I'm just going to type it in here. Target symbol in middle of icon. This is just kind of me thinking about what I could do for each of these icons, putting notes next to my ideas here. This would be home, this would be location, map, search feature could be here. Oops. And this is good to do because you kind of get the, why is this going so? Here we go. You know, start thinking about your individual icons. Design contact. You could do like cell phone for contact. We'll put a circle there for the target. This would be store hours, possible gift idea. A little circle in there. Okay, so these could all be buttons. There's the logo up there, all be buttons, and I could kind of type in here, you know, which each of these would be. So that could be kind of the beginning start of your home screen. It doesn't have to look like this. Yours can be definitely different. I'm just kind of you know, planning that out. I'm going to pull over the second window here. The options that I need to put in the department area for the location map section. So this would be the location map. Let me see here. And again, this is something that you can, you know, do research on in terms of what other people do on their kiosk screens. You can go to any store and look at how they do it to get inspiration for yours as well. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to open up something and it's not working. There we go. Okay, let me hide this so I can do it. Just be drilling into our wall or something. It's very loud. Hopefully you guys don't hear that too much. All right, so what you can do for this, you can actually rearrange these. Oh my God, it's so loud where I'm at. I might have to move my computer. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, I had to move out of my office just because it was getting a little crazy loud there. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically what you're going to show on here is when you're clicking into location map, this would basically be your departments within your within your kiosk in the store itself. I'm actually going to delete these. You can use these, you can, delete them if you want. I'm just gonna kind of start from scratch for this. And I'm gonna do this a little differently here. So what I'm gonna do is maybe now I'm gonna take I'm gonna plan this out with my little paintbrush again. There we go. Let's see here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have a little navigation area. So this would be my nav. Oh, that looks bad. My hand's a little shaky on this pad here. And actually, let me just do a little rectangle. I think that'll be better. So this will be my nav bar. And what that means is it'll just be kind of a way to navigate to the next screen if need be. So maybe the home screen, location map, search feature would all be up there. So let's kind of do that. So let's do home screen. Location map. Excuse me, guys. Ooh, search feature. So, this would be up here. In the navigation bar. Oops. Tap this out a little bit. And figure out a way to design that. Maybe the logo would be at this point down here. I'm just going to put for placement only for the logo. Be here. Oops. And then, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 departments that need to be shown. So maybe, let me draw out kind of like a square here. Maybe this square is the size of this. So we're going to kind of keep it consistent. Your map might look different than my map. This is kind of like the map of the store and where everything is in the department. Oops. So when you go to location map, typically what you'll do is find out where the stuff in the store is located in the store. So if this were Target and you're walking into Target, you kind of are starting out, looking straight up. This would be, let's say, groceries. This would maybe be home. This would maybe be pharmacy, apparel, and then maybe this would be electronics. Now I'm just kind of guessing and making this look good with like how this is laid out. I'm going to delete that outside square, maybe. If I can grab it, let me zoom in here. There we go. And then I'm going to fix this so that they're all kind of aligned. There we go. Okay. All right, so make this all the same width here. So I'm just showing you basically where each of these would be. And now I can go in and just type in like grocery. Maybe it could be here. We'll do the home part here. Oops, okay. And I'm just alt dragging these so I can kind of have them set, and then I can type in each one of those. So this would be electronics. Let's do apparel here. Electronics, pharmacy is the next one. Okay. And then what you can do is you can make these a little gray. So that, you know, they kind of pop out a little bit more. All right. You can have icons for each one of these too. So you can actually not only have icons for your buttons here, you can have icons here. It's completely up to you how you want to go about this. And see what other people are doing. You know, maybe they're using more imagery for each of their buttons. But this would be your location map. And maybe you need arrows to back search and other information here I'm not showing, like a checkout. You know, think about in a list of departments, maybe the list of departments can go over here. So we have grocery. Actually, let's do it in order here. Electronics, grocery, apparel, and pharmacy. And this can be in the order that you're given in the instructions too. Make this more bold. I mean, we really don't have to worry about, this isn't the actual design of this, but just so we can quickly do some hierarchy there. And maybe what's needed is just kind of like some arrows like back and forth. So I'm going to do a little line here, and then I'm going to go up to window. I'm going to stroke. And my line, I'll give like a 0.5. Let's show options, and we can do an arrow here down where it says arrowheads. A left arrow here, and I'll drag this over. And do a right arrow here. We'll go to none, and you do the right arrow there. That way you know you can go back and forth on the page, and we can kind of design that as we go forward. But that's basically the location map, kind of what you can plot out for that, just kind of showing each one of those. The next one would be the search screen. You know how if you were to go to the search from the home button, how that would look. You know, it could be pretty general. So, you know, maybe this, oh, you know what I wanted to do too? I forgot to show you guys this. Location map would be bold here because that's the screen that we're on. So you have to make sure for purposes of the viewer, they know that they're on this screen. So I'm going to bold that. So when we go to the next screen, I'm going to copy this over, just alt drag it over. Oops, maybe too much stuff going on here. Let me zoom out. Alt drag it over. There we go. And this would be your search screen. So I'm going to unbold this. Now remember, this isn't actually what it's going to look like. This is just for placement only information, okay? So I might have, you know, a totally different font for this. I might have a totally different color, you know, scheme going on here. It's just the basic elements going on here. Okay, I'm going to do an alt drag. I'm going to pull this, copy and pull this over because I want to do the same thing over here. Keep the consistency. And then maybe in here, I will do more of a search bar. Something like a general question. What are you looking for today? What can we help? What are you looking for today? Because when you're in the store, think about, you know, probably go right to the search menu to like search for something. So maybe in there, maybe you'll search for candles is what you type in. So almost act like it's showing candles in your search menu box here. You might even write something, you know, below here about how, you know, the search feature lets customers find products. They can type it on the keyboard below. Something like small type that kind of explains a little bit more in detail to whoever's, you know, searching. Okay, so that would be kind of an example for what the search menu bar could look like. The next one would be search results screen. So when you're looking up candles, what would come up on the next screen that you would see? Actually, I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this whole thing and I'm going to drag it over. So alt drag, and that helps me not have to design the whole thing over again. There we go. Oops. Didn't copy it. There we go. And then the search screen would be more the same look. The only thing would be is the actual result would come up right here of the picture. So maybe just have the like a square here for the picture. I'm actually going to pull this up just a little bit more. And pull this up just a little bit more. Oops. Okay, so this would be the picture. I'm going to put like a little diagonal across so you know that it's going to be a picture. X here. And you can even make it darker if you want. Like a gray. It's up to you on what you want to do. So that can be, you know, what you can start with. You could put the logo in there if you want, or you could just put, you know, a little square there. Actually, this could be a little bit more of the horizontal version logo instead of the vertical. Give a little bit more space down here. Okay. So you might want to set up yours in a similar fashion so it's a little easier to follow here. You might want to just sketch it out by hand and then paste in your sketches on each of these pages. If you have a Wacom tablet, it might be really easy to do your little thumbnails on the actual pages in Illustrator. But as long as you're showing where you're going to put everything, you don't have to place final images or icons just yet. You're just kind of coming up with some ideas. You can even add a page in here just for icon development, you know, how you want your icons to look. So let's do another artboard just for that, okay? So this would be icon design and kind of what you're thinking about for that. So, you know, maybe all of these would go into you know, you can start thinking about how you're going to design those. Okay, so maybe the house, you start, you know, designing. Maybe you don't want to do a hard edge on each side. Maybe you want to do a rounded edge for each of your examples here. But using Illustrator, you want to start designing, you know, your icons. This would be hard and soft here. Let me do radius. Excuse me. I have to do this a little differently here. So what you'll have to do is start kind of deciding how you're going to do this in Illustrator. I'm going to cut this in half, you know, start designing this for what I believe would work for this particular piece here. You can look up like icons also to help inspire you on how you want to go about your designs. You know, you don't have to start completely from scratch. You know, for example, let me place in one that I downloaded online. So you can kind of look at that and then start basing yours off of that. You know, maybe kind of be inspired by what you see. Take your indirect selection tool. I'm sorry, your direct selection tool, what am I talking about? And start kind of manipulating this. I'm adding paths on here. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to get something that's similar to the Target logo. I can actually copy the Target logo in here too, but this is, you know, a good start. Something to unify the icons together by using that dot and that circle. Oops, let me go back over here. I can even just use the dot and circle in this vector logo here if I want to keep it consistent with the logo itself. I just have to make it, whoops, I just have to make it white. Or whatever, you know, maybe I'm making all this red. Maybe I'm making this red and this white. So start playing around with that, see what you can come up with, you know, have fun with it. I'm just going to use lines, you know, maybe try something like that. I can actually have in my lines tool, my stroke, I can make this like a rounded cap. So it might look a little bit better here for my rounded look. Something like that could be my home page or my home icon. So it's custom tailored for that one. So like this one would be for this one. The next one would be my location services, which would be like a little tick mark. I could start out with a oval, maybe a red oval, and then take my direct selection tool and start manipulating this, pulling in the handles. Oops. Start taking away some points here. And then using that little target for the middle part. Okay. Oops. So that would be here for the location services. So you can start designing your apps, kind of showing what it may look like, how, you know, how it's gonna, the overall unification of it would be the color, maybe a symbol that's represented in the logo of some sort to keep it consistent. This is my magnifying glass. So start kind of thinking about how you can make this more unified and doing your own icons for, you know, possibly your home page, your home screen buttons, and or your location map. Maybe you have buttons, icons that you want to use for that. And what's nice is they're universal. They should read what they look like. They should be universal in terms of like a pictogram of sorts where you see it and you kind of know exactly what it means without actually verbally saying. I'd probably would probably edit this a little bit more so it looks, you know, a little more tick-like there, probably like that. Location. You know, when you go on a map online, you see that little tick mark. It's kind of what that represents there. So basically, get your elements in here, how your plan, your little development going on, how you plan to grid this out. I don't want to see finished work for this particular assignment. I just want to see kind of thinking about the overall grid structure, how you're going to do your style of your icon design styles. When you're done, you're going to save it, and then you're going to save it as an AI file, and then you're going to save it as a PDF. And it should, in Illustrator, it's going to make a multiple PDF as long as you choose all. And a small file size is fine. Mine's going to be 5 pages because I have my icon design as page number 5. Okay, so with that being said, let me open up my PDF that I just saved on my desktop. Let me reset layout tools so I don't have everything in the way. Open up your PDF, make sure it looks good. I'm going to open up my PDF for you guys to see what it looks like. To just obviously shouldn't look finished, but it should look like, okay, this is what it's going to look like. I have these icons placed here, like little icon symbols, maybe the button name below it. The logo is going to be on that screen on the top. The next is your location map, and this is kind of how it's going to be gridded out, whether it be solid blocks of color, an image, or an icon. Kind of start thinking about how you're going to present it. List of departments on the left. Now, again, navigation bar, list of departments, all the type that you see here isn't going to be the final typeface used. It's just for placement only. So it's just showing you where it's going to be. If I were to do this with a pen and pencil and paper, you would see my handwriting. And obviously that's not going to be used for the final project. It's just going to show you where everything's going to be. Logo at the bottom with a left and a right arrow. Next screen would be your search screen. This is a very general search area where you can type into a search engine bar here for the actual kiosk to search within that store for a particular product. And then the next screen would be kind of the search results. And that little square in the middle would be a picture of candles or something in that regards to the search related product. And then the next page is just kind of me showing my icon development, you know, how I'm going to tie it all together. I didn't quite finish it, but you kind of get the idea. Hopefully. All right, any questions so far? Tomorrow we'll kind of wrap it up. I'll kind of show you other examples. I'll wrap this up so I can show you what it looks like when it's done. We'll go over a few things. So just make sure you're picking one out of the options here. So, you know, like we kind of went over, and then showing the departments in the location map screen, and it's listed below what you need to kind of list. All right, I'm going to skip over this. The assessment, we'll kind of go over the assessment tomorrow, just talk about it in general. It's going to be a quiz, so just kind of a heads up, you're going to have a quiz for your assessment 3. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up. I kind of went over a lot today, so I want you guys to digest what I kind of went over and start your development stages, start your brainstorming. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll go forward. But I will be here tomorrow at the same time. We'll meet up, so if you have anything you want to look at or show, that's the time to do it. All right, so no questions. We're all good? All right. I'm going to take that as no questions being needed answered here. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys on the discussion boards, and hopefully at the same time tomorrow we'll meet up for the second lecture for week 3. You guys have a great day.